Day, June 14th at 9:30 a.m., and this is the monthly meeting of the Council on Aging Board. The board adheres to the open meeting law, and Robert's Rules of Order are followed during these meetings. I'm Jean Campanello, chairperson of the board. In attendance are Harley Luke, director of the Senior Center, Renee D'Argento, outreach coordinator. We have a new member with us today. Casey Bogan, who is the assistant director. Board members, Judy Goodstein, who's the vice chair, Lori Jones, secretary, Betsy Zug, Meenu Sharma, Aaron Subramonian. Our first agenda on the meeting this morning is a call to order. And Holly will introduce us to Casey officially.
So this is Casey Bogan. She is our new Assistant Director for the Council on Aging Department. And I'm going to give it over to Casey to tell you a little bit about her background and if anybody has any questions for her.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm coming here, last week was my first week. I was at Fallon Health before this for about 10 years, working in the Summit Elder Care program, and prior to that I was working in the Navicare and Medicare programs. And prior to that even, I was at Elder Services of Worcester doing home care case management, Navicare geriatric support services coordination, as well as a care transitions coach. So, lots of experience in this field.
Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you with us.
Thank you.
We hope you're good with giving finances.
Or Excel spreadsheet.
Next on the agenda is to review and act to accept the May 2023 minutes for our board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? There being none, move to accept the minutes. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved. We usually have a Friends representative with us at our meetings. There is none today, so we will bypass that on the agenda and go to our financial reports. Holly?
Yep. So so everybody would have received an account totals PDF as well as line items that show all of the expenses or revenues that we've been doing since we met last month. Are there any questions regarding any of the totals or anything?
Are there any questions? I just have a couple. Under the Elder Affairs grant, if I'm reading this correctly, there's an encumbrance for $5,000 and another for $1,609. Can you just...
Yep, so some of those are for the respite program under the grant that Renee is doing, so we will receive those funds back.
Okay, okay. And both of them are for...
We'll receive up to 8,000, but we're still in the process of utilizing the rest of the funds. So by the time we meet again, you'll see that the total number will change. We'll actually have more than what's in there right now.
Okay,
I'll be giving you an update on that.
okay, good, thank you.
And if I might add something, so behind the scenes, listening to the board about the finances and things like that, going forward for FY24, you're going to see things a little different that I think you're going to be very happy about. I've been taking the time throughout this past year, whenever I've had it, to work on an Excel spreadsheet for each section that monies will be coming out of. So it will show so under even, services not classified, that those are the funds that are put aside in case something comes up that, wasn't predicted that we would have to spend money on. It will show just the services not classified, what I put there. We have $4,000 to spend. We'll spend it down to the $4,000. So each section that you see in all of these line items will have its own little spreadsheet. So you'll all be able to see exactly where the monies are coming from, where the deposits came from. It will total everything just like that. You won't be able to write anything in it, but you will be able to be a viewer. So when I send out each month, I'll give you an update. and kind of go from there. I think you'll be very, very pleased when we meet again, so you can really kind of see and get a better understanding. I'll still include the line totals so you could see, make sure that they add up and things like that. But I'm hoping that those will help solve some of the problems that we've had over the past year.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. Great, thanks.
I know that last month we talked, or you sent an email out telling us that the lobby computers were going to be taken care of by the town's tech department.
Yep.
And we had been spending about $300 a month on that.
Yes.
One of the other things we talked about and never moved forward was replacing the raised beds, and I didn't know if that might be an option for using some of that money.
So absolutely. So what I am waiting for, so we do have that money. I think that we'll have some more money opening up also. And I'm waiting to hear from legislature whether or not the formula grant has been passed from $12 to $14, because I'm expecting that if it does, we'll receive approximately another $18,000 to $19,000 that will go into our formula grant that we'll be able to use. So I'm hoping, again, by the time we meet again, in August, but we do need to vote on not meeting for July 1st, that we'll have those extra funds. We'll be able to sit down. I'll be able to sit down with both Betsy and Arun, talk about programming that we can do going forward, talk about the raised beds. I've heard from the building department that this Thursday is the last day for bidders to bid for the patio. So by the time, again, we meet in August, the patio should be installed, they're expecting. So then we'll be able to actually figure out, do we want to use some funding for outside to, make it bigger and better, raise garden beds, or do we want to do more for outreach, or whatever the case might be. But I'd like to hold off on figuring out where we're going to put those extra funds until August, so we know exactly how much we're going to have for the FY24.
Okay. Comments? Questions?
Are we going to talk about the bidders down later in the meeting?
So I don't have any information on that. So what it basically is, and you can go on the town website to see what they put in. I had told them that the max that we were spending was $40,000. So it closes on Thursday. They will look at all of the businesses that put in their bids. And the building department actually works with them from here on out as far as, scheduling a time, getting out in the, outside the senior center. So as I get more information, I will share it with you, but that's all I have at this time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
That, you did send us a copy of the bid.
Yep.
Which is kind of difficult to understand.
Yeah.
At least for me, it was a bit difficult, but that's as much information as we have on that.
That's all we have in the fact that it closes on Thursday.
Okay. Renee, you're up next.
Sure. Actually, I had one question regarding the accounts totals.
I'm sorry?
I had one question regarding the accounts total. So on the very last line on the sheet, where you have the grant totals, it says year-to-date actual is over like 100,000 something. So, if I might be missing something. If I look at just the general fund, the expenses like over 207,000 there itself.
So if I might, so what we have left for the Elder Affairs grant right now, or what is in the account, is actually $56,371.60. That's what we have left. Now, 40,000 of that has been appropriated for the patio, and then there will be rolling over some of that extra funding. Well, actually, all of that's rolling over, but minus 40,000 of that, and that leaves us, 16 and some change for FY24. And I'm still have to take out a little bit of salaries for the rest of the month.
No, what I meant was why the year-to-date actuals is low on the grand total line.
I must be looking at the other one.
I'm assuming the grand total is including all the funds, general fund, gift fund, state fund.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get there. There's a lot of stuff. I'm assuming what the number that you're looking at, as I'm looking for it myself, is the number that we started off with this fiscal year, FY '23, and where we are at now, because we did have quite a large amount of money that rolled over into FY '23. But as I mentioned, we have about the $56,000 left over. I don't know why, it's taking me forever to find it. Oh, here it is. I'm gonna find it. Totals. I don't see the 100,000 that you're referring to.
This 113,442,
What page is it on?
very last line of the.
What page is it on?
Page 6.
6.
Oh, page 6.
Year-to-date
It's on the
actual
year-to-date
on the,
budget
on the,
report.
on the very bottom.
Is it on the totals one or the
It's
one
on
with
the
the line
total,
items?
no, it's not the line items.
Oh, it's on the
very-
totals, okay.
Yeah,
It's the line or the total? No, it's
all the way down the bottom.
the total.
Yeah, all the way down, right there.
Okay.
So where, what line? Oh,
Bottom, no, going back to the,
back down.
there. right
This
there.
one?
Yeah,
Oh, down here?
yeah.
That is, so that's the revolving account.
But the grand total comprises of all the accounts, right?
That would be my guess. That's the first time I've even recognized that line, but the fact that it says grand total of all of the accounts, well, that must be the remaining balance from the rest of the accounts is what that is what that total is. I don't know if Amy Lee from accounting had touched upon that when she went over, but it seems, that's what it appears to me. I can find out for you, but I don't know. I always look at just the totals of each account, I don't concentrate on all of the account totals together because they're each used like in a different way. But,
Well, the available budget is highlighted.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was just, I assume our year-to-date actuals is the actual expense that we have had so far. That's what it is referring to, and which is low, knowing that our general fund is over 200,000 expense.
So our general fund, when the whole number is put together, a portion of that is salaries. So salaries will deplete that account
Yeah.
right down.
So I was hoping that this figure will reflect all of that expense also, to give the actual picture, like how much is the available budget.
Well, I highlighted all of the totals in the accounts that we use.
Yeah.
Some of these include, though, grants, like other grants that could change that figure, I'm assuming, because I know, like, for instance, the shared winter street grants still shows up in this, even though we haven't had that in 2 years. So I apologize. I don't know how to answer your question. I would say, until I can find an answer, the main focus should be what the totals are in the accounts that we use on a day-to-day, and I could try to find that answer for you from Amy, if she didn't already mention it at the last meeting that she attended.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Thanks.
Other questions on finances? Renee?
Hi. Some updates. So small home repair has been very busy. For people who might not be familiar with the small home repair group, we have a group of volunteers that operate under the Council on Aging that helps residents age 60 and over do repairs related to health and safety issues. And those include, and especially this season, installing window air conditioners, In the fall, they will take them out again and put them away for you. It includes installing grab bars, changing light bulbs or smoke detector batteries. They don't want seniors getting up on ladders. If there's a board, lifting on your deck or a few boards lifting on your deck, it's a trip hazard or something in your home, they'll you repair that, handrails, things like that. So these small home repair requests do come through me, and so all you have to do is call me at the senior center, and I send that out to the volunteer coordinator, who then gets those requests over to the volunteers, and then they will actually call the resident directly to arrange a time to help that person with that repair. So they've been very busy. Soon as the heating season starts, which started pretty early this year, that's the most common request is for the air conditioner installs. Also, related to heating assistance, people have been starting to request new applications for the new year, not realizing that typically starts in the fall. So the heating season is from November 1st to April 30th when it comes to fuel assistance, and those applications are able to start being submitted sometime around September, October timeframe. For first-time applicants, you will, hopefully come either contact me to get help with applications or get the forms and the requirements, or SYFS, Shrewsbury Youth and Family Services, who also, they also assist with those. For people who are renewing, you'll get a renewal application in the mail relatively early in the season, starting in August and September. And those will be pre-populated with your information. You will still submit your updated income and expense information, and check the application for accuracy and any changes that you would make. So currently, they're still processing applications, the ones that have been submitted through May 12th this year. They actually extended the deadline from April 30th to May 12th. And they will be doing that through the end of June. So for people who haven't heard yet, hopefully, I know that some people who even have submitted applications in December are just getting some of their responses. So they're very short of help over there. And I think their systems could be improved. So at the request of another Council on Aging director, last week we had a meeting with SMOC representatives facilitated by Senator Moore's office to talk about the issues and try to figure out, how those can be resolved. So, and SYFS was there as well. So the main issues that we see is the length of time to approval, and also what I brought up, which is a big frustration for people, is I tell people to check their application status on the automated line because it's very difficult to get through and to get a response. So the automated line is not up to date as it should be. So people don't even know if their application has been received for many, many months. And then you're wondering whether it was lost, whether you should submit a new one. The other issue is potentially lost documents, and confusion about reimbursements. So for people who are especially on fuel oil or have assistance through their electric utility because their heating is through electric, many times they'll wind up paying those bills in advance, and then they need to be reimbursed once their approval comes through. And sometimes that happens after April 30th. And then they may be told that that the heating assistance is done. But in reality, if you've already paid through the heating season, November 1st through April 30th, you can submit that for reimbursement. They will not reimburse anything for heating after April 30th. So I think there's just a little bit of confusion about that when people aren't able to reach a person at SMOC and, talk to them about their situation. Some of the improvements that they're going to try to implement are for better scanning of the documents. I think their systems, they're trying to work with that so that hopefully their receipt, put in the system, the automated system is received and that system is updated more frequently. The agency portal for people who apply online, we're also looking to have an agency portal specifically for partners such as Council on Aging and SYFS so that we can help assist people when they come in and see where their documents are in the system. And to also, implement a better online portal for the applicants, things like that. So stay tuned on that. Hopefully that will happen in time for the new heating season. And we also, they gave us some numbers for our area towns. And in Shrewsbury, they served 202 clients this year, applicants, at a total of expenditure of $254,792 that they've given out in fuel assistance. They're still working through more applications, but thus far. Okay, so also the respite program. So the respite program ran through January into June, the end of June, which I will be submitting a report to MCOA on, how we managed the respite program, what we learned, any best practices, things like that. So in the beginning, it started off really slow. We had anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 people for the first, 2 to 3 sessions, and then it picked up to having a consistent number of 8 individuals attend at the senior center. We were hoping to get more off-site respite grants given to caregivers. Somehow that didn't pan out like we thought because people didn't seem to want to go out of town. And so we did focus on a couple of them who have given over to that. We also had more money in the budget for lunches because initially we thought that we would be catering the lunches at around $17 a person, but later it was discovered with the kitchen that it would be easier to implement just having them join the congregate lunch. But some of these budgets had already been submitted, so we had much money left in the budget in these different line items. Therefore, I worked with MCOA to get permission to spend it on other things in order to expend the grant. So last week, we planned a couple of outings with the respite participants and with the caregivers. So last week, we took 10 respite participants along with our facilitators to Pinecroft Dairy for a luncheon.
Yeah.
And that was really nice. They really enjoyed that. And we used the senior van for them to travel on. And this Friday, we'll be going to Tower Hill Botanical Garden for a luncheon.
Nice.
Nice.
So we're approved for that. And this time, the caregivers will be joining us. And this will be kind of like a finale for the end of the grant.
And
So-
there's a wonderful exhibit now at Tower Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots
And
of sculptures throughout the gardens.
oh, that's great. Yeah, we're going to be taking a little garden tour as well as part of that. Yeah. So as far as the invoices are concerned, through April, I submitted about $4,500 in invoices, and they were approved, so we should be receiving that shortly. And today I submitted another couple of thousand or so, and we'll be expecting more. So we should expend $8,000 or just short of that by like $21 that I have so far. I had to estimate another aspect of where we expended the funds is we are providing 10 gift cards for medical equipment and durable medical equipment and supplies to the caregivers, and that adds up to $1,870. In areas where we didn't expect, where we should have expected expending the grant, we got those approvals to expend them in other places.
So, Renee, how do we monitor the, or is there any oversight on how that money gets expended for medical supplies?
Oh, no, these are gift cards to the caregivers, and it's just for medical supplies. It's not like an Amazon gift card where it can be spent on anything.
Right, but how do you determine the medical supplies that are needed?
Well, that's the reason why we got the gift cards, because, originally we thought that we might get some medical equipment or supplies for the caregivers, but we decided it was better for them to determine that for themselves.
So if I might, I think what we're missing here is that the medical gift cards are for each participant's family member that takes care of them, the caregiver, for them to go buy the tools that they need to better assist the person that they're caring for. So it was part of the grant opportunity. So with the grant monies, she went down to the medical supply, bought a certain number of gift cards to give to the caregivers so they can buy things like bed alarms or, materials to, so they can eat, and utensils and things like that. So it is part of the grant for the caregiver to determine what will assist them better at home being a caregiver.
Yeah. We just thought that would be the better way to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
good.
And so stay tuned on the end of the respite program. I think people are going to miss it. A lot of the people who attend the respite program also, they came from the Memory Cafe. So I know they're going to miss those gatherings. And the facilitators are too, as well. So also, we have some programs coming up. And a recap of the Pet Health Fair. So the Pet Health Fair was a great success, I think. We had the mobile unit for the pet adoption. They brought 6 kittens, and 2 kittens got adopted, which was great. And unfortunately, I thought initially that they were going to bring both cats and dogs, but they can't bring them both on the same van because the dogs with their barking upset the cats. So some people came looking for a dog or a puppy, but we didn't have any, so there was a little disappointment there. So that was a little bit of learning. But anyway, I think that that the people who came and looked at the kittens were really happy to do that. We have some pictures in the newsletter, and I think I sent you a link, as well as others, to the pictures of the day, people with their pets, and our volunteers who helped out with that, which was really great. And over 25 dogs and cats were seen by the vet clinic, and they were given exams and vaccinations if needed, nail trimmings or anything like that. So it was a lot of fun, and I think they're looking forward to that next year. I don't know if we'll be doing that, but we also had a pet collection box, and a very large box filled with food and litter and toys and different bedding and different things. And Second Chance Animals was really grateful for that as well.
Terrific.
So, yeah. And we also started Coffee with a Cop.
Uh-huh.
And so we had Jason Palmetier and Officer Chad Chisna in the lobby. It was the first Monday, I guess that was June 5th, I think it was. And we had, I'd say, about 10 to 12 people who kind of stopped by. Some people stayed for a while. The officers brought coffee and donuts, and that made it a little easier on us, not having to scramble around or put anything through our budget. And I'm hoping to have it monthly, but in July, because it's going to be the first Monday of the month, that's July 4th week, we decided to delay that until August.
Good idea.
So, yeah. And that's from 9 to 10:30 on the first Monday of the month, except for in July. We're also, tomorrow, we're having the Fraud Squad players come in and do skits on different types of fraud that people might see, either coming through their telephone, through a text or a phone call, or internet scams, things like that. So that'll be a lot of fun. That's from 12:30 to 2 tomorrow. So I think that's pretty much it.
Good, terrific.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've been busy.
Yeah, thank you.
So next on the agenda is the July meeting. Normally, we do not meet in the month of July, and I wanted to just talk to the board and get Holly's input as to whether we should continue that or whether there's a need for a meeting.
So
Yes.
I think one of the things that benefits from us not meeting in July, especially when talking about finances, because we're doing the end of the year meets the beginning of a new year, accounting sometimes is a little, busy to make those totals as accurate, and they can become confusing. And on top of that, the vacations that in the past, one of the reasons why this started is many board members would be like, I can't meet in July, I'm gone. August is sometimes hard, but not as hard as what I've seen in the past for July. But it is up to the board to decide whether or not.
Betsy,
I'll make a motion to not have the July meeting.
Second.
is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion can I have a vote in favor of the motion? All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? So moved. Okay, that was easy. Go
Do you want
ahead.
me to take on?
Yeah.
Okay, so the senior center outdoor patio update, we went over that already. If there's no questions, I'll keep moving on.
Questions? Anyone? Okay.
The topic number 4, Shrewsbury veterans for the FY24 calendar activities. So the question came up in May, how many veterans do we know of in Shrewsbury at the moment? And the number that I received was 1,087.
Are they all seniors?
This is how many veterans we have in town. And I think one of the reasons why that came up was we had spoke about the COA department purchasing the gift cards for the veterans.
Right.
And we do not, per the veterans' requests, we do not put an age limit on this particular program. I have just finished collecting the W-9s from both Price Chopper and Market Basket, so it is on my agenda to purchase those cards and have them ready for the month of July, so we can better keep a total of how they're going out, starting with the new fiscal year.
Well, weren't we going to do a pilot for 6 months? Did we say 3 months or 6 months that we were going to
Yep.
put a certain amount of money into the program and then look back at it?
Yep, so we decided $1,000, and so I'm gonna do $500 worth at Price Chopper, $5,000 worth at Market Basket, because they're in 2 different locations of the town, so better to accommodate the needs of the veterans. What we'll do is we'll watch to see how many people are coming each month to grab them, and, how long does it take us to hand out all of the gift cards. So we'll be monitoring that up until we don't have any gift cards left. And we'll do it separately from the ones that get donated from the veterans agent that I'm working with.
Okay, good. Questions?
Would it be possible to give those gift cards based on the age? The oldest the person is, they get priority?
So it's been asked by the veteran that I'm working with that there not be an age limit on this. For them, we have veterans of all ages coming into town that use the support of the veterans agent. And as I mentioned, the veterans agent does not have a budget to do these kind of things. It is per their request that it's open to any veteran.
Judy?
Can we track the ages for our own internal record keeping? Because, I mean, our mission is for the seniors, and so if it turns out that we're spending all the money on people who are not seniors, we might want to rethink this for next year. So if we can just track that internally.
So what we do now is we'll follow the same process that we've been following. So what we do is we require a veteran's status card, and we also take their license, a copy of their license. So we'll have that information with us. Yep. So we can, we'll put the data down to the demographic. Yep.
Jean?
Yes.
I don't know what the numbers are, but I feel that people who come to see the veterans agent of any age, typically they're ones who are needing assistance, and that's the reason why they come. And it could be because, they're financially insecure, and also they may have a service-connected disability, things like that. So it feels like it's kind of nice to be able to serve all veterans for that.
Well, we can continue to do that, but just to track is,
Yeah.
to determine whether the percentage we're helping are seniors or not is just some data that we can use for
Yeah.
moving forward and allocating
data's
whatever
good.
funds are available.
Yep.
Yeah.
So strategic plan consultant update. So the Sage Consulting that I had talked with, they, for personal reasons, was unable to deliver in-person meetings. So I said, I expressed my thanks for meeting with me. I then reached out to the consulting group that did the towns, and to my surprise, the quote came back at $35,000 for our department, which was the quote for the town. So I again thank them very much for their proposal. I do have a couple of emails out to both Shashi and Louise to see if they have the information from the person who originally did our first COA strategic plan. Louise said she was going to do some digging, and I have not yet heard back from Shashi. But I'm sure we'll be able to find that, and hopefully we can get that same person.
I may have that.
Well, if you have it, you send it to me, please.
I know I have a strategic plan at home for the
Okay.
Council on Aging.
Okay.
I don't know how old it is,
Yep.
but I'll,
So I have it too, but I can't find the person's name of the consultant that was doing it. So it's kind of a mystery.
okay.
Would the town have that, or in other words, somebody was paid at some point, so you
Right.
have to have a vendor name.
That's
You go
true.
back to that point and
That's true.
find out who the vendor was, what vendor was paid.
We also might have minutes. If anybody remembers when it was, there would be meeting minutes.
Okay, that's true.
Well, the date might be on the strategic plan, so we can
Mm-hmm.
take a look at that.
Okay. I will look that up.
So you had asked for input from the board on comments on the strategic plan.
Yes, and with the training of Casey, I forgot to submit the words that we have. So I can do that. Now that we don't have a consultant, we can table that for a little bit. But I can share that with you. We did take all of the words and categorize them. I apologize. It's been a little bit of a very busy couple of weeks, so I will get that information out to you.
Okay.
And I thank everybody that did it. It was nice to see how everybody perceives the COA in the senior center, because it's not all the same. So it was nice.
Oh, now I want to see it all.
So actually, Jean, the next one is yours. You had asked to put the food sharing pantry and the Rotary Club on the agenda.
I know there are two separate components to the food pantry. There's something that we do at the senior center, and then the Rotary Club is responsible for the little house outside of the senior center. I didn't know who accepts or who takes on the responsibility of maintaining that house and making sure that expiration dates are adhered to on the foods, and just overall taking responsibility for the day-to-day operation and how we interface with that
So
as a council.
Sure, so I'm actually going to put that on Lori,
knew
since
it.
she is part of the Rotary Club.
When we originally decided as a Rotary Club to have the community fridge, we were basing it on the experience that already existed for other community fridges. There's one in Northborough, they're up to maybe 7 now in Worcester. So we actually got a lot of input from those folks. Our goal for Rotary was to have it be a community undertaking. So in other words, everybody, there's a website, and we have over 1,000 people on the website and there's feedback on the website. So this is the long answer. There are some key people who will go in, and when they go in, they will check the expiration dates, and they will make sure that nothing is in there that's supposed to be in there. And there are specific rules for that. There can't be any glass, there can't be any raw meat. People aren't supposed to leave anything that's open. You can't bring cooked food from home. So there's a variety of different rules, and it is checked fairly regularly.
Okay.
And it's cleaned up. People who are part of the community take care of that. The Rotary Club got donations to have it made, to have the structure made. Actually, that was a donation from a local carpenter. And then we had help with the actually paying for the fridge. The town, I think, helps with the electricity, if I'm remembering right. And we also, I think we just have to make sure that everything is running properly too. So that's how things are being taken care of. But it is a full community endeavor. We spearheaded it. Our president of the year, each president takes on a project. And Sandy Burgers was the one who really spearheaded that and made sure that it happened, and we've all been behind it. So, and it's 24/7, so anybody can put anything in. It's leave what you can and take what you need.
Yeah.
So, and you can come by and at any time put something in.
So how does the Council on Aging interface with that, or the Senior Center?
We really don't have anything to do with that. The only time that I go out there is when I'm doing my own circle check of our food sharing pantry, watching expiration dates, and if something's coming, down to the wire where there's like a month left or something, instead of me worrying about getting back there and getting that piece of food or whatever it might be, I usually ask a volunteer to take what I pull out of ours and then share it with the Rotary fridge.
How does our food pantry work?
So as I had mentioned a while ago, we started to discontinue the frozen meals because it seemed as though people aren't looking for them as much as that they were when we were under COVID. And presently, we use them for people that either come in and speak with Renee. Renee will put a bag of non-perishables now together for people that come in. If somebody should call us for whatever reason, they miss a lunch or something like that from Meals on Wheels, we'll give them some items from there. It's also used for emergency purposes for fire and police. Should somebody need food when we're not around, they can come in and take whatever it is that they need.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
We don't get a lot of requests, and I have the feeling that there could be the stigma attached to it. Whereas the fridge outside, people can kind of anonymously, walk up and grab some things.
Sure.
I don't know, I've been thinking about how we could maybe better distribute food out of the senior center, and I think Holly and I are going to try to work through that. So, yeah,
Distributed at the Senior Center or through the Senior Center?
at the senior,
Center.
yeah.
Coming up with different kind of creative programs that doesn't necessarily kind of put in your face that you might be having a problem with food insecurity, but an option, and anything that we devise will always include other resources where people can find food if they needed to, whether it be Elder Services of Worcester or St. Anne's Food Pantry. Currently on our human leadership team, we're trying to devise some ideas for food insecurity with some town ARPA funds. And so we're always thinking about the creativity without making it seem like it's a handout or somebody has to be embarrassed about inquiring about it.
Has the number of meals decreased since we stopped offering free lunches?
Yes.
What percentage do you know?
I'm not exactly sure. I haven't been able to contact that. It's basically back to where it always is. You know, you get anywhere from 10 to 20 people coming, depending upon what it is. I laugh every time because when it's hot dog day, that dining room is packed. In which case, one of the things that Casey and I were talking about today was kind of a kickoff in July. We want to purchase a grill where we can do like a hot dog day outside. And if you remember, we did a couple of years ago, we had the ice cream truck come.
Oh,
So we
yes.
thought we'd do hot dogs outside,
Great idea.
having side room A, so we would do it in lieu of congregate dining for a particular day in July, and I call it the ding dong truck, having the ding dong truck come where we could pay for the expenses for people to come and have hot dogs and ice cream for the day. Our patio will be in by that time. We can have the grill out there. We'll have people manning. So we're looking forward to doing that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Holly, I don't remember how much we spent on doing the free lunches per month. Do you?
It fluctuated anywhere between $400 to $800. I believe
Okay.
March was the biggest month, and I think that one was just around $800.
And how many people, do you know?
Well, in a
Approximately.
200 for the month, but I'm
Yeah,
sure it was
yeah.
repeat people.
Okay.
Because, and I will tell you that, and I think Renee can confirm, that since we offered those opportunities, those people that were meeting during those couple of months, the daily meeting, the daily congregate has gone up by a couple of people. So what's nice is they did form those bonds during those couple of months and sat with people. And it's nice because they come in and it's the same group sitting with people. It's definitely a great opportunity for us to consider doing each year, especially in the winter months, because the food insecurity it does show more in the winter. It's harder for people to get out and things like that.
Judy?
Yeah, that brings up, actually parlays right into my question. Is the congregate dining geared towards people with food insecurity or also just people who are, lonely and want to come to the senior center?
All of the above. So same kind of thing. And this is how I usually explain it. The same reasons why we go out to dinner with our families is the same reasons why they come into congregate. And I always try to offer, like the sugar packets and ketchup if people want ketchup, especially for congregate, so they can spice it up a little bit, the little condiments on the side always make them, feel like, it's not,
Well, I
it's
just
not like
think
an
there's a need,
institution.
Yeah, we have seniors
Yep.
who just need to get out and see.
Yep, so it's just getting the word out that all people have to do is call 24 hours. We had actually, Renee and I, even when we were talking about this, maybe having an opportunity where ESWA could come and people could try it that don't normally come, just to, almost have like a food tasting, if you will, for it. Because some people, especially the Meals on Wheels people, they're like, well, I don't know if I want to have food delivered to my house every single day. What if I don't like it? This will give an opportunity for them to try it.
Do the lunches serve the same food that the Meals on Wheels people get?
Yes.
I think that's a great use of money, whether we continue it or even reduce the costs to include more people, say September through May. I just think it covers a lot of
Yeah, I agree.
issues with food insecurity and social isolation.
So I would be if the board wants to vote on something, we can, vote for a time so I can work, so if we want to start in September and, bring it all the way through, we can with a close monitoring of our budget.
It would be great to host a fall food tasting. I love that idea of a food tasting.
Yep.
To encourage people who normally might not come to congregate dining to come in. It's, you
Yeah,
might
and then
attract a different group of people who will go for a food tasting and then get hooked.
Then
And
transition
realize
to the,
it's
Right.
a safe place and a fun place to come.
And the other thing is too, if the board wants to vote on supplying something like this, there's no cost to them, so they can actually come and try every single meal if they wanted to.
So what, I'm sorry, but what motion are you seeking?
Well, Jean just suggested
For
having
May,
it,
for September,
or
have it
September
free
to-
again, or?
I said
was
a
it?
couple of things, September, sort of like the academic
said
year,
May to
September to
September, and I
May.
meant
But
it
I'm
the other way
also
around.
saying, do we want to think about, rather than offering free meals, just reducing the cost for everybody?
so we can't,
We can't.
so I don't want to make it complicated. That's already complicated for E ESWA because this already, by doing this, we definitely help them out. It looks good for their numbers and people are eating. But it's $2.50 a meal, so I don't.
that's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Never mind.
They also would still need to call 2 days in advance for planning purposes. I mean, one of the reasons that you ask for money from somebody is it like commits you both to the event. But if either way, you have to call to make sure that there's
Right.
enough food. You're accounting for what your needs are as far as food and service.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're still covering the Memory Cafe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and if I would like to, actually, while we're on this food topic, and Renee just brought up Memory Cafe, so I did meet with our facilitator, Mary Gerber, and I had explained to her that we were reducing the annual budget, and she immediately said to me, wait a minute, she's like, I think that your calculations are wrong. She is correct, my calculations were wrong. I was only thinking about Memory Cafe meeting once a month, and they actually meet twice. So I divided her expenses. So so what I did was I calmed her and said she's got the 4,000 back. So I said, that's not a big deal. We didn't make any changes to the budget yet, but I did want to let the board know. But yes, we do pay for the lunches from Memory Cafe.
And it's very well attended. I think there's anywhere from, 20 to 30 people.
Yep,
Yeah.
each time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I just think if we could do a pilot, even if we did it for 1 year to see how it works, it just gets a broad range of people. And the social isolation, which is one of the big things that we had talked about as a focus of the board, would address that issue.
So if we estimate at the highest, which would have been March, at almost $800, I think that is the good umbrella to kind of look at and assume that that's what we would get instead of doing the lower spectrum because we don't want to under budget. So $800 times.
$8,000.
So my thought is,
And we could take some of that money from the lobby computers.
so my thought, yep, so since there's a lot of things happening in the next month as far as finding out what monies are becoming available to us through the state grant, it's my recommendation that we hold off the voting of the amount and the duration until August. So we have a clearer picture of what we have in funds.
Okay, so we're going to put that on the August menu.
Are you hungry?
On the August agenda. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Judy because I have a prior commitment and I need to leave.
Okay, thank you. Are we moving on from?
Yep, so the next one, Judy, we're on number
senior-
7.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is senior car detailing, and that is Minu.
Oh. Yeah, that was a request for our seniors who have rheumatoid arthritis or joint replacement to provide them some assistance in getting their interiors cleaned, the car interiors cleaned for them. We share probably some of the cost that goes in, so they can be encouraged to keep it clean and have a quality.
I guess I have a question.
I do too.
It seems like if they have a car, they're not housebound.
Mm.
So why do they need an at-home service?
Say that again?
If they have a car, then they're, presumably not housebound.
Mm.
They have a car they're using because it needs to be detailed. So why do they need the at-home service?
Because the outside car cleaning services are very expensive, so they would not avail it. They cannot do it themselves also because their body, like.
Well, I get why they can't do it themselves, but why can't they just take their car in to be detailed? It's got to be more expensive to do it at your house.
Usually,
Or
I mean,
maybe
this
not.
is my experience. I have seen some of the seniors and they are not able to keep up with it. It's probably time consuming for them, or it's not very convenient for them to sit at the car detailing. Or maybe there are just not enough vendors out there. They're not aware of that, there could be many reasons why they are not doing it, but they are not doing it. From what I observed, some of the seniors, it's very dirty, the ones that I saw, and it's difficult for them. So.
Betsy?
Yeah, I think before I would be comfortable supporting this, I'd need to know what the need is. Have you done any kind of a survey to document that there's a real need? We just talked about food insecurity and putting money towards things like a grill so we can support people with
Right.
food issues. I would prefer to put money into that as opposed to paying for somebody to get a car detailed. But how many people need this service is what I would be interested in knowing before I would vote for anything like that.
Judy?
Oh, yes.
I believe last month we also had discussed briefly about if you could find out what the cost would be.
Right.
But my thought is, even beyond this, and because I agree with Betsy, but you might be able to visit a couple of these car businesses that might want to offer a discount to seniors if they go. And therefore, if they want to offer a discount, I would gladly put this opportunity into a newsletter that says, A, B, and C car detailing is willing to give any Shrewsbury senior 60 and over 20% off in the months of August, or something like that, where it's assisting a Shrewsbury business, and I would highly recommend that it's a Shrewsbury business, and it gives the business a good, we're promoting their business, but they're also doing something for seniors that we don't necessarily have to get involved with out of our budget, but they would be saving money if this was really a need. That's just one of the suggestions with going up, because I think you're right. I mean, I do see cars that are dirty, but I agree 100% with Betsy that I think the food insecurity is a much bigger problem than what we have with cars.
So, my thought is that we could do some kind of a trial here. Well, put some money and see how many people are able to come, just to give us an idea, like say once in a year, if the cost is like $60, they pay $10 or $20 and we pay the remaining, just to see how many people come forward with that service, how many are actually needing.
Do we know what the cost is per detailing?
They vary from like $50 to $60 upward to like $100 just for the interiors. So they vary.
And do we know how many people approximately, are we talking about people who just want to get their cars detailed, or physically need?
Physically in need.
How would you determine that?
Mhm.
How would you set the criteria? What checklist would you use to determine that I might not be eligible, but someone else might be? I just see complications there.
Judy, I have another.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm
No, that's
looking
okay.
this way.
It's okay.
See ya.
No, and I have another thought on that also. First, I think we need to know from the car detailing exact numbers, right? And if it's like the basic plan, that's $50, okay, that's something. And we wouldn't allow we wouldn't allow waxing and all of those things or whatever. But my other thought is, an idea would be, Manu, if you wanted to reach out to like the Girl Scouts and things like that, where they could make this an actual project. And if they wanted to set up shop at the senior center, they absolutely could.
Often
So-
you see volunteer car washes, or
Right.
car
Yeah.
detailing, run by the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts or a church group or something. I think that's a great
But when
idea.
they're doing that, aren't they doing it for
For their own
for
profit.
fun, but they're doing it for fundraising?
Right,
Yeah.
maybe they would volunteer
Okay.
to do it here. I mean, who
that'd be
knows?
great.
Would-
Well, they could have a fundraiser at the senior center, even if they wanted to do that, where it might,
yeah, good point.
it might only
Good
be $10
don't
for
need to
somebody
use
to come
money on
in.
Anyway, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
we
usually
are.
it's not very expensive when they do those.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, the other thing too is for Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, they have service requirements
Right.
for advancement within their scouting, both programs. And sometimes you have people who are willing to take on a project, and now it has, for different awards and things like that. And sometimes it's just service for the value of service. I've been involved in both across my whole life practically. So that might be either one, you could reach out to and find out if they could help in those ways.
So, I'm sorry.
So, go ahead, Holly.
So my thought is, if you wanted to spearhead that and reach out to them first, that would give us a great idea of who would come to the Girl Scouts, and then maybe after we see how many people come, we could table this and say, you know what, people came, and then we could relook at as far as, what's in our budget where we could assist to keep this going if in fact they get a lot of numbers.
Well, why not make it if it was popular, why not make it a yearly thing where the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts do this?
So another
During-
opportunity.
Yeah, during a month, every August or whatever it is.
It would be helpful for us if you would spearhead this and kind of reach out to them and then report back to us.
I could check with them, and I can see from where, I don't know where it will lead to.
Do you have contacts with the Scouts?
No, I don't have the contacts.
Um,
The other thing is, would seniors want some flexibility in their schedule of when they want to get it cleaned? If a lot of people don't come to senior center, and they may not even get to know about it
well, how,
unless,
yeah.
are you,
I mean, there is no communication channel that goes back and forth to see.
well, how were you gonna get did you have any thoughts on how you were gonna get the word out about the,
Newsletter, I think,
Okay.
would be one, and maybe, I don't know if there is a flyer, like how we have other flyers for home cleaning service in the senior center.
is there, right now, we're just kind of having a general discussion,
Yeah.
there's no motion or request or anything.
Yeah,
Was there a specific request you're making of the board, or?
no, just how to proceed into, for this, and one of the options you have said is Girl Scout,
And Boy Scouts, don't forget the Boy Scouts.
sorry?
I said, and Boy Scouts too.
Yep.
And the Boy Scouts, yeah, Girls and Boy Scouts. That's one option. But like how you mentioned on the newsletter also, something that we put an advertisement that you get this much discount over these many cars. I mean, you get this discount if you use this vendor, something. So
Right, well, that would be
that
up to
would give
the,
them flexibility.
right, well, that would be up to the vendor 100%. And my suggestion on that too would be to reach out to a different couple vendors and let them all know on the same page, so we don't look like we're favoring one over the other.
Yeah.
By saying, this is what we're looking for, would you be interested in offering seniors a discount? It doesn't have to be permanently, but they could pick a month, and that way they have the whole month that they could go in.
So I provided a list of vendors last month based on the information I had till that month. So I had like around 9 or 8 vendors that time. And it would be nice from the accountability perspective, like say, for the transparency also, if someone from your office reach out and say, okay, this is the discount you will offer.
I would, so with the responsibilities and our daily functions, I would ask that since it's your proposal, if you could assist us with reaching out and coming back with us and finding out that information. I'll be honest, I don't have, nor does the staff have enough time to reach out to 9 different vendors and talk to them. And since this seems to be very,
price-
something passionate, but the
Price varies from $60 to $100. That's there, right? So if it was me, I would just pick the $60 guy.
I think
Right?
that, yeah, well, that's probably going to be what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not talking about, it's car detailing, so
Yeah.
maybe they don't get, a little crevice, it's okay.
I think we just need more information.
Yeah, I think we
And a
need
plan.
more data. If you
Yeah.
can just let us know, what the price point is and who the vendors are and what discount they would offer.
And then
I
maybe
think we
the
need-
option,
Then we can, then we can.
Yeah, I think that
have a
as far
and the
as
option
discuss
of the
moving
Girl Scouts, Boy
forwards,
Scouts
yeah.
involvement as
Yeah.
well.
So I think Holly had shared the spreadsheet last month and.
Oh, I
I
missed
shared-
this
yeah.
month, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so those vendors are there in the list. And as far as the discount is, they will say, give us the numbers, that how many will come. Based on that, we will give you the discount. And the numbers we don't have.
Well.
that would be
then
nearly impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It could be
Yeah.
10 people, it could be 100 people,
Yeah.
we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
you know.
where, I mean, if we put even the ad, maybe, but then, I cannot say that put the ad of A person and not the B person, just because he's asking 100 and because, right?
Well,
The
yes, you
newsletter
can. I
either.
mean, that's what the board would decide, is we're going to use
Mhm.
X vendor. We're not going to, give them a whole menu of vendors they can go to. We're going to say, choose a vendor, because that's what they want. They want the volume. You can't spread it out and ask everyone to give us a discount. But we need more data in order to move forwards. Is that something you can provide us?
I really, I mean, the data I could give is only the vendors that are there, that I was able to pick those 9 vendors from Shrewsbury and around 8.
Did you talk to those 9 to
Yes.
ask if
I
they're
spoke
willing to
all
do
of
this
them before coming up with the list.
20% discount, or what are they willing to do?
They gave their price for the interior detailing and exterior.
Oh,
The
okay, I think
discount-
we're
Oh,
talking
so we-
about 2 different things
We
here.
are.
And the discount is
realized.
based on how much
Yeah, me too.
volume is there.
Yeah, I think we're talking about 2 different things, it seems. Because I think what we had talked about, or what in my mind we were talking about, was asking ABC Car Detailing to offer a 20% discount to someone who identifies as a senior citizen in Shrewsbury on a particular day, once a month.
Yeah.
Where the board, the COA, is not going to invest any money. It would be up to
Right. as an
Jane Doe, the
advertisement.
senior citizen, to go to ABC Detailing on the first Tuesday of every month, and that person then would get a 20% discount at ABC Detailing. But that would be separate from, we wouldn't be accountable to any of that. That was my interpretation, and I could be interpreting it wrong, but.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I think what's more interesting is to have something like that at the senior center, potentially start one time and then once a year, because it would bring new people and different people to the senior center. So it's good for marketing, it's good for making people aware of some of the different things that we do, and potentially intergenerational as well, because of the younger people who would be involved.
Well, now, yes, I agree with you, but now you're talking about a different, I mean, we're morphing it, which is fine.
Oh, I know.
But now we're talking, because Minu's idea was home detailing for seniors who can't get out, and now we're talking about, obviously
Yeah.
they are coming out.
Yeah, if they have a
But
car,
I
they're getting
agree,
out, right?
It would, what?
If they have a car, they're getting out, and so
That's
they can
what-
just drive
that's
up.
what I- That's what I said,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're morphing, changing the idea, but I think that serves the seniors center more
Yeah.
appropriately,
I mean, I'm okay with all the suggestions as long as,
as long as
They
people
get
get their
their
cars detailed.
however, we
Okay.
can help them. clean it
Okay,
up.
well, would you then maybe look into that possibility, can you find out whether these vendors that you've identified would be willing to designate a day as senior centered day? Because I think if you do that, people will show up.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if you just make it open,
They would.
people will show up and
I'd
get their
go.
cars detailed. And just get if possible, a reduced price or a price, and find out what it includes.
I can check with the lowest bidder for basic cleaning of interior.
You'll check with the second lowest, too.
Yeah, a couple.
Oh, you
Yeah.
wouldn't check with the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts to see if they wanted to do that
Yeah.
themselves? And it would be a lot
Mm.
cheaper and it would be
Yeah.
beneficial to them and.
Yeah. That,
Yeah.
I would suggest that.
They'd show up, they'd
First
be
priority.
organized.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other thing is, we
It's
get
a
a
community
lot of,
activity.
Yes.
yeah, we get a lot of phone calls over at the senior center, where can they help out? And I don't always have ideas. I think this is a good idea for one of those groups, for sure.
I do too.
Do you know Patty Minton, Patricia Minton?
Nope.
She is very active in the Girl Scouts. I don't actually know her. I've had like a few contacts.
I know
with her.
Patty.
But yeah, Patty is very active in the Girl Scouts.
So,
What you need to know is that in the town of Shrewsbury, there is a one person who basically brings all of the troops together. They're the liaison, the representative that works with council for the entire town of Shrewsbury for all the Girl Scout troops. I don't know if Patty is that person right now. She may be, but she is very active, and she also works with her girls through getting, doing service projects, but also fundraising, because the girls go to places like Iceland and Costa Rica and places like that. So, and they work really, really hard to be able to do it. But they do a lot of service projects. So Patty Minton,
She's probably a good contact.
I have her email if you want it.
yeah, yes, please.
I mean, if she's not the central coordinator, she will know who is, for sure. Is there any other comment on the?
Yeah, as I speak, a lot more questions come in my head. So, say we arrange 15th of August as the day the car cleaning service or the Girls and the Boy Scouts will come to Shrewsbury Senior Center. Now, we need to reach this and give this information to the seniors that, are you interested, then book a time, because every car will take 30 minutes or 40 minutes for cleaning also. So, how do we
Shouldn't take
get
that long to clean the inside,
Sorry?
just the inside
Yeah,
you're
just-
talking about?
I'm assuming outside is cheaper, outside $12 they can get in automatic car washes. So the bigger problem for them is interior.
Yeah.
So, but say, I need to get the seniors, I need to provide that information to the seniors, and they need to tell like what time they will come, so it's not like open-ended, or they're waiting whole day and they don't show up.
Well, they can have,
Yeah, wouldn't we
Yeah.
say like 10 to 12?
Well, hold
You
on.
know.
or it might be more.
Yeah, right.
So if the Girl Scouts are willing to do this, I say let the Girl Scouts figure out their time.
Yeah.
And they can throw me out a couple of dates when, we can close off that circle area so that the girls are nice and, or the boys are nice and safe. And then they're responsible for tracking who comes in, like this would be their project. So we're suggesting this project for the Shrewsbury seniors. But this is a little bit more involved than, because this would require a lot of work from like the receptionist and us. So my thought is, let's see if they're willing to do this project, let's see when they're willing to do it,
Step one.
and then kind of go from there.
And then
We are not meeting again until
August.
August,
Yeah, it couldn't.
so
be
you might be talking about October.
Or September.
And it's a thing.
What'd you
that-
say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, we haven't set any timeline yet. So
Okay.
this is still thought in
Okay.
in progress.
Well, we don't have a motion, so I guess,
So, but
we're
one
just
of the-
requesting that you reach out to the Girl
Yeah.
Scouts and see if they're amenable to the idea as first step.
Sure. And but how would you reach out to the seniors to bring them out, to
The
make
same
them
way as
aware of this
newsletter.
initiative?
Yeah, the same way as
What we
any other
usually do.
program, yeah.
Right.
The way we always do, newsletter,
Newsletters and.
Facebook.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. Sounds good.
All right,
Yep, thank you.
okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Activities Committee update by Aaron and Betsy.
So we, I think we mentioned at the last meeting that we put together a survey, and Jean was kind enough to deliver it to her Meals on Wheels clients. And she then allowed them a week to respond to the survey, and she collected the survey results from them. We distributed the surveys to 30 of the Meals on Wheels clients to get us a baseline sampling of what we're dealing with here. And the questions, for example, the questions that I asked, the first question was, are there 3 or 4 program ideas that you'd like the senior center to offer to you? And I mentioned to those folks that a full list of programs is in the monthly newsletter, just to remind folks. The response I got to that question is that people would like to see health programs, exercise streaming, personal services like manicures, chair massage, and blood pressure checks, theater productions like By the Fraud Squad, somebody mentioned that. This was interesting. Performances by the middle school and high school choirs. There's a big music program at Shrewsbury High School, the band, the orchestra, and the choirs.
Yep, we get invited to those. Those are always in the newsletter when they inform
Yeah,
us.
I wonder, well, I think this person was thinking about here, bringing them here on,
Oh,
in this building. And finally, to that, more music and trips to recreation activities like ball games, casino, and beach. So those were the responses we got to the first question. The second question, are there services or programs from the Council on Aging that you'd like to be offered in your home through Shrewsbury Media Connection, on TV or online on a computer? And what are they? Please list them, because we were concerned about homebound seniors as well, who might want to take advantage of some of the programming we have. The responses I got, yoga class. I know back in the day, we used to have someone that did yoga through Shrewsbury Media. Informational programs, gentle exercise, guided meditation via Zoom. These are just the direct answers I'm reading you. And one person said that she doesn't have Shrewsbury Media Connection, although the person has internet access.
Yep.
So that was just a,
In order to have media connection, you have to be part of Selco.
okay, I didn't understand that
Yeah.
answer.
Yep.
Oh, okay. The final question was, do you have internet access? And one person said that she does not like being online, does have internet, but doesn't like to be online. And everyone else said that they have internet access. So,
So, Judy, can I have something just to update the board. So myself, Casey, and Renee are in the process of applying for an MCOA outreach grant. And one of the things, what we're applying for, and I don't know if you all remember, but months and months and months ago, I mentioned that we were looking at a kiosk, it's called the Hoop Board kiosk.
yes.
So we're revisiting that, and so Casey has some connections with another business called GrandPad, and GrandPad is like an iPad for seniors. And so we are in the process of doing, putting together the grant. And the wonderful thing about the kiosk, that what we learned was the kiosk, we can make that into our own Shrewsbury Council on Aging app.
Oh,
So we can, almost all of those things that you just mentioned can go into the Council on Aging app from what we can develop from the Hoop Board. So our plan is to ask, to write in and ask for one kiosk, which is roughly around $5,000, if I remember correctly. And we're thinking we were going to ask for 25 GrandPads at $400 apiece. And the reason why we were going for 24 or 25 was, Casey suggested it's a bigger number for us to collect better data on.
Yeah.
Any more than that, we feel as though MCOA might turn us down. So it ends up being about $15,000 for the grant that we're going to be requesting.
Great.
So we're hoping that between the informational kiosk that will be located in the senior center, people will be able to go on there, do online surveys right there, cut down the paperwork, download the app from there to their phones. We'll have some Q&As at the senior center helping people download the apps. And the GrandPads are fantastic because the GrandPads, we can individualize each GrandPad for whatever they want. But we have already decided that no matter what, in order to be eligible to receive one of the grant pads, you would have to make sure that the Council on Aging app stays on the grant pad.
Makes sense?
You know what I'm saying? So in order, and because we will be able to track the data from the hoop board as well as watch the data on each one of the gram pads. We'll have all information to all of that, to see what what are they looking at, what are they watching the most, and things like that. So we'll be able to collect more data for FY '24.
What's the timeline on the grant?
It has to be in by next Friday, and then we hear by July 17th.
Oh, good.
Good, that's
Oh,
quick.
good.
Good turnaround on that.
And it's for a year.
Oh,
So so sometimes MCOA grants, as Renee's found out, they offer, you've got 4 months, hurry up. But this one is for a year, so what's fantastic is the expenses come out automatically, right? But then what we'll do throughout the year is watch the analytics that are coming in from all of them. So we're super excited about the possibilities for
Great.
this.
Sounds good.
Back to the Activities Committee,
I think we're done.
Program Committee, Activity.
I have a question.
Oh,
Did
here
you-
I
All right, go ahead.
It's not my job to call. I'm sorry about that.
It would have been nice to know if there was a question on, because many of the things you mentioned, some of the things we do already, and we videotape the programs, and I know Karen McKenzie does her
She does the
Fit for
exercise.
Life program thing. It would have been nice to know whether they're watching some of those programs now, because it makes me wonder if they're aware, some of the people who answer the questions, that some of those are now on there.
I don't have the answer to that question,
Yeah.
but I can assume that they're probably not watching if they responded saying they would like to see this, like the
Yeah,
exercise program.
Yeah.
Because it is there, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the newsletter and, that it's available. So I'm assuming the people that responded are not aware.
Well, it could be the way the question was asked. It's like, the question was, what would you like to see, right?
Mhm.
So, it almost feels like,
Like to offer.
yeah. Or the pre-question would be, what have you seen and what would you like to see? I don't know.
I should have checked with you.
Arun, did you have something?
Some questions for Renee. So what would be the next steps regarding the respite program? Like it sounded like a great program, good responses. Where do we kind of take it forward?
Well, Holly and I have had the discussion, and she's not sure that it's something that we want to continue. I would prefer that it would be something that we'd continue, because I think it's serving a different group of people who come and use the center, who don't normally get out, because, well, of course, the Memory Cafe, the caregivers are with the participants, but, the participants themselves, most of the time they're homebound, and this is a way for them to get out and be social with others. But it would take some funding, so it would be either funding from one of our sources or from another grant to be able to continue it. I know that in other towns, the 3 towns that I modeled it on, Northborough, Marlborough, and Hudson, they have continuous grant support from, I'm trying to remember, Metro West. It's the Metro West Foundation, so.
I'm going to suggest we're off track on Activities Committee here, but respite program is an important subject. I'm going to suggest that we put that on, as an item on the agenda for the next meeting, that
Okay.
whether we should continue it and in what, and funding, et cetera.
Sounds
Is that
good.
okay?
Thank you.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Thanks.
Does anyone else have anything on Activities Committee?
One other question related to what you both were just talking about. Given that it sounds like they might not know about these other programs, what if you just sent out a flyer to the at-home people, to, the people that, for the Meals on Wheels, that said, like a did you know? And an explanation on how to access it.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe they don't know how to get to it. Even if they're reading it, they might not realize what they're reading in the senior newsletter.
Okay.
Just might not be clear.
Yeah, so we've done kind of a little bit of that, but not the totality of what you're talking about. So, periodically, not all the time, I have put program flyers that would be put into the Meals on Wheels, you know, so that they would be delivered with the meals. But that might be something to look into, whether something that gets put in that shows them that this is on our community cable, on the public access, and this is how you might access some of those programs. There must be a program guide. I know there's got to be a program guide, but a program guide for things that have to do with the senior center? I don't know, or activities.
I don't know, but you know, it may be sometimes like a whole newsletter is really overwhelming because there's so much stuff in there. But sometimes if you have a one-off flyer about one particular item, and maybe each month you do it, just something in there that's, you know, like about the exercise or whatever it is you think they're missing, then they can focus on just that and try it out and see if they can find it. Or say, call me if you can't get to it, you know, if you have the answers for how to reach it.
Yeah, so, and when I've done the flyers, what I find about them, it's not always consistent about how they're given out by the kitchen staff. You know, they're all volunteers, so I'll give them flyers, and then I see them hanging around for a couple of weeks sometime. I don't know that it's a consistent way of reaching people. I mean, we do try, but
Just a suggestion.
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't delivered the food. So.
Anybody else? Any comments, questions? Okay.
Sorry. Before we move on, I have just a response from myself about the respite program. First off, Renee you did an unbelievable job with that, and I agree. The people that came absolutely did love the program. I am a pretty firm believer in that. If there's another resource that's offering things, the Shrewsbury Senior Center or Council on Aging Department doesn't necessarily have to offer the same exact thing, but instead supporting those other communities that do have successful programs like this, whether it be helping them find volunteers that we can send over there, or maybe a partial funding if say Shrewsbury wanted to go visit the Northborough Respite Program, because one of the things also is it was 3 hours a week, which is a considerable amount of time, and finding the facilitators. And like you said, it would have to be habitual funding for their salaries. And then, and like I said, if these other 3 close communities have been offering this for quite some time, I think that it would be beneficial for us to just continue to support them. And advertise for them and make those connections with them to see how can we integrate Shrewsbury seniors into their programs, what can be offered. So I'd like to make sure that we kind of evaluate all of the pieces, just as we are with the car detailing, and see, okay, what would be the cost for us to continue to do this on our own, or what is Plan B if that doesn't work?
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll have a full discussion at our next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be part of the report that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Judy, I have one
What,
other-
hang on. Go ahead, sorry.
Just one other question. I don't know if it falls under new or old business.
We're not up.
Time for that?
It is.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, then the next item on the agenda is new business.
So Holly, I wanted to ask you about the COA board training on the 28th. Is that still something that,
Yep, and we'll be right here.
in this meeting?
Yep.
Okay, in this room?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect.
That's all right. 1 o'clock?
Yes, 1 to 3.
Okay.
Mhm.
1 to 4, it says.
Oh, is it 1 to 4?
Mm.
Sorry, I don't have my
Flyer
computer
says.
open anymore.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we'll be
Yep.
here at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other new business? Any old business? Oh, I'm sorry.
I just had
me-
one question from Holly. You put a lot of activity, like advertisements on Facebook.
Mhm.
I wasn't aware, like, do you put, like, if I want to search for COA, do I search for your page and then I subscribe to it? Or, like, when you're putting an advertisement for some of the activity, do you post it in other forums also, some other popular forums for Shrewsbury community? Or is it just listed only on your COA page?
So depending upon what the activity is, so like recreation or town will also put it on theirs. So like when we have specifically big events, pet fair and things like that, I usually reach out to the other departments. Hey, if you could share this on your social media page, that would be fantastic. I don't do it for the day-to-day updates. Hey, don't forget about Zumba or anything like that. But one of the things that I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do is with that app that I was just talking about, all of those are going to be right at their fingertips every single day.
Well, Shrewsbury has two pretty, plus the moms group, so three
Yeah.
pretty active groups,
Mhm.
you know. So maybe we can think about
Yeah.
sharing from the
Onto-
COA page onto the Facebook groups for
Mhm.
Shrewsbury.
Because one of the groups has around 14,000 people,
Mhm.
and that is very active, Shrewsbury Community Forum.
Mhm.
Yeah,
If you
Yeah.
post over there, it'll have a good outreach.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
because sometimes we do and we don't know whether we are overlapping.
Mhm. Right.
yeah, is that okay with you
Yeah.
if, you know, you've got something on the COA page, like, I don't know, the pet fair, that we go ahead and share that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's
Okay.
it's public. Once
Fine.
I put it up there, anybody can
Okay.
share with it. I know that we only have a minute left, and I had hoped that we would get to this. So one of the things that I wanted to make everybody aware of, so since the transportation service that the COA offers is amazing. Cynthia Willis, been with the town for 27 years. She does an amazing job. And it's starting to get to the point where it's much bigger than what we can handle. So I have been working with the WRTA as well as Kevin Mizikar on solutions to reduce the amount of I guess, work, if you will, duties that are required with transportation and for our staff. So beginning in September, what's going to happen with the transportation is instead of the calls coming in through the senior center to book everyday calls, those calls, the WRTA is actually taking over that portion of it. It's an easy transition. It's it's an easy technical transition. It is just one phone number that people are gonna call. I'm gonna work with IT to actually build a phone tree off of the senior center phone lines that says if you're calling for transportation, hit 1. The reason for this is that obviously the WRTA are the transportation professionals, right? But they are taking over everything. They're taking over the dispatching, the scheduling, the calling. They're taking over everything. The only thing that stays the same is, well, actually, everything else stays the same. We're still responsible for hiring and training our van drivers. We are still going to be scheduling the things for our own COA vans. There is the only report that Cynthia will have to do is the financial report of what we're expensing for salaries and fuel. Right now, she probably does 4 different reports to the WRTA and to Mass DOT. All of those will be taken off of her plate. This is in lieu of hiring another person. And so with this, we will also be saving about another $5,000 out of our formula grant because we will not need the Route Match software anymore. We'll actually be using My Senior Center software. My Senior Center, thanks to Julie Tierney, the business analyst, she's been working with them. And we are going to be part of a pilot program with My Senior Center. They've had the transportation software part of it, but it was never big enough for Shrewsbury because we have 4 vans. But now that we'll be coming down to 2 with our own, we're going to be transferring over to that, and that's going to be happening about in September.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else with new or old business? Okay. That concludes our agenda. Do we have any motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Any second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned at 11:04.
Thank you.